After being reassured by my boss that he would support me in preserving my employment from the procedure condition, I continued to enjoy my work. The cooperation was smooth, and I was on track for a great career. Then, a few weeks after we discussed the procedure things changed. As he explained, "I am very sorry. I told you not to worry about procedure being a condition for keeping your job. But they are very serious about the that is being drafted. I tried everything I could to protect you, but they severely told me to stay away from your case and not intervene anymore. I am very sorry. You must get the procedure if you want to keep the job." With all that I was seeing around, I was not surprised. A few weeks after this requirement, the university dated the procedure, and employees had to fill out a form with an option to request an accommodation for R, GSR, Sons or CRD, which I asked for. With my family and friends, like most people, I was worried about the situation when I began noticing decisions and actions that did not make sense to me. I wondered if deciding not to try those suggestions when no other solution was available was not legitimating what some people said about this and then the first procedure came out. This procedure, that had also not been tested sufficiently, was being firmly pushed at all costs upon people. I also witnessed some news on March 22, 2021, showcasing 3 officials from LG, Ning O, Tions who were supposedly in the procedure, and, after that, spoke to encourage the Tion to get theirs. However, for 2 of them, I could see the nurse only pretending to give them the procedure. The Psi was empty. She also did not CK the N into their arms and noticeably did not even touch the Psi STHMB rest. Only one of them received what seemed to be a proper procedure. This increased my doubts, and then more and more strange and unbelievable events started. O Nyan was highly divided, and the Lashin was split into 2 categories, which started ling each other names. I was witnessing a lot of red mixed with a lot of fear, and what happened was very Li and Ting. When I saw all this while the university was suring its employees to get the procedure, I looked at everything I had been through before finally getting such a great job. I looked at my ups and downs and the status and perks I finally had after all the glaze. I looked at my job prospects and what my position meant to me, my family, and my origins. I also looked at my soul and my promise to no longer separate from myself, to be true to myself, to listen to the voice of my conscience instead of my fears and desires, to make sure I am always at peace with the something within, and to no longer act on fear. I looked at the culties and bless I would encounter again if I lost my job. I thought, with all that was happening, maybe I could end up becoming homeless. But I also looked at the setup I would be contributing to. It seemed I had reached the threshold I could not surpass. I understood that if I refused to be I could find myself in hardship again, lose everything, and no longer have access to anything. Indeed, with the digitalization of procedure status management via smartphone apps, enabling data access permissions could only require a legal framework, such as changes in privacy laws and data protection regulations. For example, if a favorable legal framework were established, software developers could program the procedure status app to share procedure status with other apps, such as financial ones. This integration could potentially trigger access denial based on specified criteria. With healthcare, food, employment, services, and other vital needs being removed from the non-ed, we seem close to such a possibility. With what was happening, such an outcome wouldn't have surprised me. Technology is fantastic. The digital world brings speed, convenience, and comfort. However, these tools have continually proven they can be extremely harmful if possibilities we never expected are misused. The only valid reason for me to get the procedure seemed to be to avoid losing my job and what it provided, for example, pay, status, and prospects. The fear of losing what I had, the fear of not getting what I would have later, and the fear of being rejected by others. I remembered my introspection and looked inside of myself. I wondered what to do, and the something within kept telling me, no, don't do that. I realized that I could not get the procedure, even if my job and needs were at risk, and I could see my position slowly sliding away. I also remembered the experience I shared previously in Chapter 4 when I witnessed all the managers being suddenly dismissed and replaced during one of my internships. I wondered whether the university would agree to sign an agreement stating they would never get rid of me if I see IED with their mandate to get the procedure, even though I did not wish to do so. The procedure was not something they could get out of my body if, for some other reason, they later decided to end my employment, and the decision to terminate my employment could occur at any time, which could even be the day on which I would have gotten ed. Then, turning to the something within, I realized that even if they miraculously agreed to sign such an arrangement, I still could not do that. I would be RST into TRS if I submitted, ring myself and breaking the promise that I made to myself during such a deep introspection. Something inside me would be RK forever, and I could not bear to subject my SL to such remorse. I was not interested in proving anything to anyone or getting into a conflictual situation. I simply couldn't do that. Following my accreditation request, I received an email informing me of its rejection, which did not surprise me but made me feel end. Then, I had communications from my boss's bosses and was summoned to meetings. My boss was pushed aside and never invited. I felt intimate, and as LTED to have to talk about the deep motives that did not allow me to compel. Then, a few weeks later, my dismissal was decided. It was stressful, but I was at peace because I did nothing wrong and only listened to the something within I could no longer ignore. The peace I had with my conscience was priceless. However, the foreseen damage to my life was immediate, and even if I already knew Faye was going to be tough again, walking through the situation was painful. I was getting said, and to relieve it, I would take daily walks in nature. During those walks, I had all kinds of thoughts and will share some of them in the next chapters. I only wanted to live peacefully with my family and provide for them. I was red of seeing them CED to WRAM all day long at school, even during physical exercise and sports. My job was gone, and my marriage was also ending. People started looking at me as if I was CZY. Some of their comments were, "What's wrong with you? How can you lose your job for a little procedure? It is like if you wanted to change the world." To try to help, some other people suggested, "You could have prayed and then go get the procedure to keep your job. You could have purchased a procedure, without getting the procedure." All these were not things I could allow myself to do. I could not tell the something within, "Sorry, I hear you, but I am going to put you aside again and keep or get what I want." I also heard some people saying, "I hope all this ends. May God help us," but their decisions seem to contradict their hopes. People can sometimes display behaviors that contradict what they want. We are consistently between two poles, positivity and negativity. In our decisions and choices, we often consciously gravitate toward the pole of negativity due to the influence of fear of losing, not getting, or being rejected. Then, having moved toward negativity, we paradoxically expect the positivity we desire to come to us. Instead of moving toward our hopes and dreams, we retreat into negativity and sound to wish for a curvature so that positivity somehow bridges the gap. However, positivity and negativity are found in opposite directions and cannot mix with one another. I witnessed a lot of in people's lives for both those who applied and those who did not. Both those who agreed were as terrified as those who did not. At least, there was no division about that. I could see how difficult it could be to decide when you risk losing everything. I remember another person saying, "If I don't and lose my job, how will I feed my kids? How will I do to put food on the table for them?" I was tempted to answer, "I will support you." But how could I take such a responsibility when I would soon need that help myself? How easy can it be to say no when the fruits of years of strenuous efforts, investment of time, work and money, relationships and reputation are held at the T.P. of a sigh that will determine your fate? I understood how difficult the decision could be and chose not to judge those who plied, even if this fostered such sighs for society. I could not feel a wry against them or participate in the king and name ling. I understood their choice, a choice I thought was not a good one, but for which they had their reasons I respected even if mine did not seem to be also respected. Another perception I had during this massive outbreak was about the dynamics within groups and the influence of collective power on individual behavior, found in the group effect. Being part of a group conveys a feeling of power. As the saying goes, unity makes strength. A group acting in a specific direction can be a powerful force. However, deviating from this direction can lead to a member's eviction, stripping them of the empowerment gained through their membership. When people's lives, jobs, and careers depend on this membership, their sincerity and truthfulness are tested. Often, they are obscured by the power of the group they embody or fear being evicted and losing their benefits. Consequently, they strongly advocate the group's direction or follow silently. This leads to an underlying chain of fear prevalent in all groups, such as societies, ments, workplaces, associations, and families. The group effect empowers each member, making them feel stronger. However, behind this lies the hidden fear of losing this power. When the group takes a direction, fear can cascade from the top down. Even if individual members disagree internally, they may push the group's or pass the fear to those below them. This dynamic explains how group members can support and conform to a direction they do not personally endorse. I felt ped in a world that seemed to be held tage and could not pay. I looked at all that was happening in my life and around me and sid, ed g my way. I was tired of the roller coaster in my career, and if this was how the world had to be, I did not to be pt of it. If this was what my had to be, I did not want to it and more.